I'm not going to sit and be like, Jollof.
Jollof rice. Good morning,
It takes us so long to get started.
It's fine, it's good. We're videoing. We're rolling.
Besselessa, I'm calling from your bank.
You have won a cash prize.
100,000 Uganda shillings.
Yeah, the first one. My name got called. My name is so-and-so. I am the Prince of Ghana. I have a lot of money in my wallet. I need to send to you. What? Yeah. I need your bank details and your address.
What's the one that they said? It said something about a pigeon being stuck in someone's... A pigeon was stuck in someone's bank account and they needed the account number and sort code to get the pigeon out. That's brilliant, man.
Oh,
they do come up with a good one.
Anyways, we should get started into this. We're talking about phone jack. It's phone jacker, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was it, yeah.
YouTube phone jacker, if you have no idea what we're talking about.
Got with a big phone.
Yeah.
Great.
But anyways, hey guys, welcome to the 6th episode of the Beyond the Boards podcast. Bit of a long-winded intro over there. We kind of get carried away before we kick these things off. But we've got, as always, hopefully some interesting topics from you. We've been hit up with a lot of requests to do stuff on gear. So I thought that would be a good place to start off. But before we jump into it, still being in lockdown right now, but things being eased off a little bit. How have you guys started your mornings and any working out? What have you guys been doing to stay focused? Same?
Yeah. Like you said, restrictions have been lifted slightly, but obviously from our point of view, training-wise, it's going to be like this for a while. You're just going to have to do what you can at home and make the best of a bad situation, really. Try and keep yourself, in a decent shape. And Gary, yeah, just kind of keep yourself occupied and motivated. It's probably pretty easy to wake up and not want to get out of bed because you haven't really got anything to do or go out for. But you've got to do something because before you know it, this is hopefully, touch wood, all going to be over and life's going to get back to some kind of normality, and before you know it, the season will be right around the corner. So
that's a very optimistic way to look at it. What about yourself, Tommy? What have you been up to in the mornings, aside from sleeping past 10 a.m.? 10 a.m.
Normally wake up about 12, half 12.
It's not, man.
Where else are you going to go? You got nothing else to do. Why not sleep?
Jeez, man. You enjoy that. Enjoy the freedom you have right now.
I love my sleep. But yeah, very similar to what Jay said. You just got to try and stay fit because we don't know when we're going to go back. Mm-hmm. Could be next week. Could be next month. Could be 2 months.
Is it that it's that ambiguous? You're not giving any. You're not getting any indications of what's happening.
I'm not you don't want to chance anything. You always want to be fit to go back on the ice. Whether that's next week, next month, or in 3 months' time, you always want to be ready to basically like season shape, if you know what I mean.
What are you doing at home?
Normally my workout starts with like a run. I normally like to burn like 100 calories on my run before I start any type of weight training, and then go into weights, finish my my weight training, try and stretch a little bit if possible, because obviously otherwise the next day you feel like absolute rubbish. And then
wait, how do you run without stretching? Like what?
I don't even stretch. I just have to get into it.
Do you know what I mean? I just put my headphones on and go.
5 to 7 minutes of dynamic stretching before even thinking of doing anything.
I have a really hard time getting into stretching. I prefer to just get into the workout.
I get very bored if I start stretching.
I'll do like a cool down stretch after, but doing one beforehand.
Hurt yourself straight off the bat?
I don't really do that. The one thing that I hurt myself when I'm working out, and it happens consistently, is if I'm doing anything relating to shoulders, like Arnie press or anything like that. I'll always walk away with an injury if I've done that.
Press.
Yeah, you know what Arnie press is? Like the dumbbell.
It's just the way you said it. I thought you were going to say
really if when I drop the weight
Arnie
on my
press
foot
is
or
sick.
something.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's what about yourself, Jay? What have you been doing in terms of your actual routine for working out?
Yeah, trying to eat well. It's just trying to eat as well as I can with what I've got in the house. I don't want to be going to the shop every day and having to go to Tesco and whatnot. I do it once a week maybe.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have to cook a lot of my meals, which is a bit of a tough break now. But no, just trying to eat well. Workout wise, it's probably same as Tommy. You do a lot of cardio for the first couple of weeks just to try and get your lungs up a little bit. I think during the season when you're on the ice, we're on the ice like maybe 4 or 5 times a week. Sometimes that's your cardio there, and obviously where you're doing it consistently, you get yourself in game shape pretty quick. Normally the start of the season, maybe 2nd or 3rd week into September, you're getting stronger, you're getting more durable, and it just you kind of stay that consistent throughout the season. But I think summer's probably the big one. Certainly now, like we said, with being in lockdown, you've got to try and occupy yourself, occupy your mind, and make sure you're kind of progressing day in, day out. So No, a bit of weight work. A lot of kind of shuttle runs and sprints at the moment. I bought a parachute, which sounds all fun until you get out of the bag and you start doing it. They are tough. Like if you've never run with a parachute, whether there's wind or no, it's
That's actually a pretty decent way of trying to do things when you're limited with what you have access to. Because that's the thing I've been struggling with. I've been having to do a lot of like body weight related exercises because I don't have like a setup at home.
I mean, don't get me wrong, things are quite expensive at the moment. I mean, when this all kind of first started, for the last like 6 weeks, I've been looking for a punch bag and a frame.
Yeah, people are going to take the mick with the prices.
Well, yeah, I mean,
it's completely off topic, but it's like the Nintendo Switch thing. Like these are crisis of Nintendo Switches, and they're being sold for like £500-600 when they're £278 normally. But people are having fun.
It's how it works.
It makes sense though. Everyone wants to be able to have gym equipment at home. So if you sell gym equipment, why would you not throw the price up? I'm not saying I would.
No, that's what happens. Literally, someone, I think it's probably third or fourth week into this.
Yeah.
Someone put a screenshot of the Sports Direct website from like 6 months ago for certain equipment, and then 2 weeks into this, and like there's like 60-70 quid difference on just I think it was like a punch bag. The pricing's like extortionate. I think and this is gonna be quite bad because I know that the guy from Amazon, I forgot his name, but like the guy who's meant to become a trillionaire in all this because the amount of people that are using Amazon, daily.
Yeah, I'm using Amazon daily.
I've used Amazon for a while. It's good. I don't think there's anything, whether that be hockey related, phone related, and that you can't get a hold of.
That's probably why you have to stretch, though, isn't it? Because when do you do long distance, or when you stretch, you put a parachute on and then run?
So near where I live, I've got my old school field, which you used to run around like in cross country. I think it's like one lap's probably just over a kilometre. So I do 2 laps that warm up, takes like 10 minutes. I'll do a bit of dynamic stretching just to kind of, because before I properly started kind of taking fitness seriously a few years ago, it was literally just I'd get up, go for a run, do something to my leg. As soon as my leg started hurting, I'd start running. And then, the older you get, the body kind of gives you a few warning signs that you should probably stretch before you go for a run, do something like that. And obviously with doing sprints, it's literally 0 to quick rather fast. And sometimes your muscles can't really keep up to that. So I always stretch before, do 15, 20 kind of shuttle runs with a parachute for 20, 30 yards, and then a couple of bodyweight bits and bobs over the field, and then I'll either go home, get on the punching bag for a couple of rounds, and that's pretty much it. I just get a bit of a sweat on.
Fair.
Get myself in some kind of shape until I can get back into a gym and kind of do all the stuff that I want to be doing, but obviously can't for certain reasons. So
I think it's a circle shape, if you ask me. But
Wow.
what's that?
Your shape, mate.
No, not anymore.
He's just firing shots at you needlessly.
A year ago, I'd have taken the fat jokes.
Yeah.
Like, honestly. no, I would have. 100%. Like, 100%.
Yeah.
Not now. I'm getting myself back into a
Routine.
routine, and I'm probably watching what I eat a lot more. Right, if I could eat Domino's 5 days a week, I would. But 2 days, you're just like.
Too much.
I limit myself to like a bad meal a week, whether that be like pizza, loads of pasta or whatever, and just trying to eat as well as I can.
Fair play. But from there, I think one of the biggest questions that we're constantly getting on the podcast is to discuss like just general equipment.
There's so much out there.
But I mean, the conflicting thing about talking about it now is the fact that sticks are still like absolute priority. We can go into sticks because you can still use them. And obviously, like skates, if they're inlines or there's an inline equivalent, you can still use them. If you've got synthetic ice, which obviously isn't going to be the majority of people, you can still use them. But then it's like, it's why I've tried to avoid. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Having a mini rink outside the house is definitely a touch. I am going to be doing a video on it because I'm still changing what I'm doing. And there's so much stuff to it as well, like maintaining it because it's outside.
Just
I've
buy
not
some
covered it.
materials and build an actual rink on your driveway, boards and everything.
But they're like, that's what I have coming. They're not like proper boards, but it's like to keep the puck in. It's going to look nice. But I don't want it to be that intrusive because it's just.
Buy a couple of bits of timber.
No.
Paint them.
That's hassle.
No? The hockey tutorial rink, you could call it.
No, that is hassle. It's too much. I need
And
Ricky
then
for
rent it
that.
out.
But no, it's in terms of equipment. Who do you think is making the biggest strides right now in terms of just general gear? Like from what you've seen in terms of like stuff that's coming or stuff that you think is going to be coming. Who do you think are making the biggest strides? We'll start with sticks, for example.
Are you talking, when you say bigger strides, are you talking about as in like advanced from the previous one, or just, throwing them out there in numbers?
Let's do both.
I think kind of numbers wise, you've got the top two brands, which are obviously a fight between Bauer and CCM. And then you've got the likes of Warrior, True, and whatever else kind of guys are using. Obviously preference only. But from kind of a skates perspective, it's probably the same throughout all bits of equipment, whether that be protective, skates or sticks. You've got Bauer and CCM that are fighting for the top spot. I think on, like you said, the things that are coming out new, I think at the moment you can do, if you know your sources, you can do a bit of digging. Obviously being a Bauer fanboy, I know there's a few bits and bobs coming from kind of their end later in the year. The new Supreme Ultrasonic range is coming out kind of like late. I think they've said kind of like late October, November time. Depending on once this is all
I
kind
don't
of
know
sorted.
why I heard July. I'm pretty sure I heard July. I might be mistaken. I need to
wrong.
double check. I might be referring to something else. But
I
the
read on
date,
the website
July,
online it's going to be kind of late, well,
Could have been
early
pushed.
season starting basically.
could have been pushed. Yeah.
Well, if they do it how they normally do it, the pro guys, the NHL guys and whatnot get, new skates and new sticks that they haven't released yet to run in over summer, and then come September, October, you'll see them have them a month early. So yeah, that side of things. The ultrasonic stuff does look good. I don't think there's probably going to be too much difference than what the 2S or the 2S line has been like. Obviously, graphics will be different and whatnot, but from the pictures I've seen, the sticks look nice, different color variations, which everybody loves. It's always something new. I think that's probably one of the main reasons. Besides it being brand new, people always go for something that's different. If you're going to throw different colors out there, color schemes and some graphics, people are going to be all over it. So the skates have got this really big gold bit on the side, which I can see. If it's as bright as what it looks like in the picture, I don't know whether that's just the lighting. I know some graphics, I think CCM kind of do it as well. They'll put on the stick or a skate, you'll only be able to see certain graphics in certain lights. And I don't know whether it's the way they've taken the picture.
Or how it's going to look just all the time.
Yeah, well, that's it. The gold bit on if you look at the boot, if you can find a picture of the new boot coming out, you'll see it's just like a massive gold bit on the side, which will look good if it's kind of like shadowed out, not, in view and that bright all the time.
On that notion, I'll ask you the same question as well. I just realised. I'll ask you the same question as well, Tommy. What do you think about the, same question essentially. Who do you think's making the biggest strides with sticks?
I don't think there's much they can do at the minute. That's the problem. I mean, because who's going to go buy a £200 stick to use in their garden?
That's true.
So many people just can't do that.
There is a lot of companies that are pushing back announcements of new products coming out. The original release dates have been pushed.
Well, the world's basically been put on pause for 2 years.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot that we can do.
Yeah.
Because rollers, the price of rollers have gone way up. I mean, that's the same with what we were saying about the weights. It's just gone way up. So there's not a lot. It's not a lot you can buy right now.
But with companies that essentially with companies that are releasing equipment or have whatever you've seen coming out, is there anything that's caught your eye that you're sitting there thinking, when that does drop or when that does come, that's going to be pretty sick?
I mean, there's no surprise here, but the AS3s just look unreal.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get a pair of those. They look insane.
They do look nice.
They look absolutely insane.
With what you were saying about the Bauers, actually, looking at them, what looks new in terms of tech? There's
I'm at all honest.
I saw a smile there.
No. I mean, if I'm at all honest, I wouldn't say spec-wise it looks
Any different
than it literally looks. And this is going to sound ridiculous, whatever. It looks like they've got the 2X Pro boot and just slapped Supreme over it. I think they've changed their tongue slightly to match the colour scheme of the...
Do you think they're running out of stuff to do?
Yes and no.
With like the last iteration of the Vapor Skate, I was sat there fully expecting to see some form of a one-piece skate from Bauer. And lo and behold, still had an outsole.
Many people that...
Then the new one, Ultrasonic.
Yeah, exactly.
Lo and behold, from the images, I can clearly see an outsole.
Whether they don't want to do that for whatever reason, or I wouldn't say don't have the facilities to do so, because they quite clearly do, because CCM do it, but...
I think it's one of two things. They have something monstrously big coming, and these are just kind of filler products until that happens. That's what that's number one.
But why would you not want to get that out sooner rather than later, before someone else comes up?
I have no idea. But this is the two thoughts I'm thinking of. They've either got something monstrously big coming and they're kind of just doing filler products until they drop the main one. This is kind of a little bit of what happened with, I'm looking forward to seeing what CCM do with the Ribcore line of skates, because it's the only two-piece skate that they still manufacture. And I'm very
You
certain
think they're going to change?
I think the next
merge it
iteration,
together like the other models.
yeah, I don't know if they'll merge it. I think
No, I think go down the one piece.
Yeah. I mean, that's even a question. Is the ripcord range going to exist in terms of skates, or is it going to be smudged into another line? You don't know. But in terms of Tommy's getting all excited,
I
it's
would
like,
not be happy if Ripcord didn't make skates.
No, I don't
so
think
comfy right now.
I think that'd be unlikely to happen. But at the same time, what I can see happening, and what I hope is going to happen, is the next iteration of the ripcord skate is going to be one piece. They're going to kind of upgrade the entire construction of it. But I think, like I was saying with Bauer, I think what's happening there is they're either sitting on something that's going to be coming, that's going to be massive, or because of True's patent with the monocoque construction for their one-piece skate and CCM's one-piece boot construction, they're locked out with patents. So in terms of them being able to innovate and create their own variation of the one-piece, they can't without using someone else's technology. So it's either they've got something massive, literally in the works, or they're stuck, and all they can do is produce two-piece skates. And there's only so much you can do with the two-piece skate construction now. Like CCM and True aren't both making one-piece skates because it's just a gimmick. They're making them because it's the next evolution of where skates are going. And I think if Bauer doesn't latch onto that and find a way to innovate and make theirs like that, they're going to fall behind. It's like, I hate to say this because these guys used to be the kings of making skates. Graf.
I think they're
like Graf. Look at Graf.
Comfort-wise, they're well. I wore Apparel Grafs once because I forgot my skates or something, and they were hands down the comfiest skates I've ever worn. But then you look at, were they doing what Bauer potentially doing, where they're trying to hold on to that reputation as we've been around for years, we've been number one for however many years, you know, we're always going to hold on to that title, or like you said, are they holding on for the old mic drop moment? I would love to see that.
With Graf?
No, with Bauer.
Okay.
Like you said, if they're sitting on something waiting to drop it, I'd love nothing more for them to do like an advertisement of a man just dropping a microphone.
But no, it's because they have some form of technology that they could incorporate. Because if you look at the Odin skate, that concept Odin, and like that was honestly
died rather quickly though, didn't it? The only Odin model you've seen
is the one that Ovechkin had.
Well, from what I remember, the range that they brought out, I think that you got a hold to like touch it, look at it, or whatever. That concept is, I don't know, it's very, very, very futuristic for people that have only ever known skates to be what they are now and have been before. I can't see that coming into it hugely yet. The boot, I like the model, the actual boot, but I think that model is what they like constructed the 1X around. Looks very similar.
I'm not gonna lie. I think the new Supreme sticks you were talking about. They look very similar to
I think it's
the
a colour
Flylight.
scheme. I think it's just a colour scheme.
They look very similar to the Flylight.
Oh, this is a video. Which one? The Supremes?
Yeah, the new Ultrasonic range.
Do you not remember seeing these?
The massive hole in the bottom. No, they look weird. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think Jonathan Taves wore them for like an undercover video when he was testing them out. They looked. Apparently, they're supposed to be lighter. You're supposed to be quicker on your feet and.
That should have been on silent. It's on flight mode. It's literally on flight mode. Look, flight mode is activated. I have no idea how that's just rung through like that.
Connected to Wi-Fi.
Come on, Chris. His phone last week.
Right, give me that. Give me the watch. We'll get it back at the end of the day.
Tells me off for not doing homework, and then his phone goes off.
All right, it was on flight mode. I don't even know what happened there. But so like with these, you're saying like I did get to mess with them when I was at Bauer's Research and Development.
Did they feel lighter than what you have held from other Bauer boots? Or?
They wouldn't let me share the weight of them.
Obviously.
They wouldn't let me share, like there was so many things that they wouldn't let me do or even discuss. But I did this intentionally in the image, and also the thumbnail, which you can see here.
Yeah.
If you look at the image on the thumbnail, I'm holding the entire skate with two fingers at the heel of the blade. The whole skate, and I'm holding it sideways like this.
I never got how, obviously from looking at the picture, you held them, I haven't.
It was slightly heavier than I'd say
the
like...
The tuck is made of plastic. It doesn't weigh that much.
But the whole...
The steel would weigh the same.
They wouldn't even tell me what the actual construction of the skate was, but it was lighter than, like one dress shoe.
Yeah.
It was lighter than one dress shoe.
Yeah, but then we've got to look into, we were saying earlier about them sticks that had the holes in it that makes them stronger.
You can only go so far with technology before it becomes financially unsound or completely unusable.
The cost of that skate, God knows what.
Of course.
I would estimate personally, like this is me just completely throwing a figure out into the sky. I would price that somewhere between £15,000 and £25,000 pounds. So say $30,000 for that one pair of skates. That's my guess. I have no idea how close
What's
or
that
off
with
I am.
the technology and the materials?
Just based on what I was holding and what it felt like, and the amount of R&D and the amount of pairs that they made, I would guesstimate 30K in US dollars for one of those. But bear in mind, like, this is a guess. I've not heard anything. They didn't tell me anything. This is just a guess.
Am I correct in saying that they released the ODN, wasn't it, or the OD1N? I think that was called. Didn't they release the goalie setup of that with the pads and stick and whatnot, but didn't release anything else of that?
I think it was called Odin, but it wasn't comprised of the same like material and setup. Like the Odin
That would just completely defeat
range
the
was like they essentially siphoned tech from the Odin range and implemented it into the products that they were releasing around that time. But it wasn't a case of, oh, we're literally going to move this technology into like retail use for anyone to be able to pick up and buy. It was just elements that they took from it.
First time I've seen them do that.
I mean, stuff like this happens all the time. It's just we're not privy to see the concepts that are released. They just decided on this occasion they're gonna.
What, did that get leaked and then they decided, oh, like,
No, it was
look,
it was intentional. They were just showing you what is feasible. Like, there's a lot that is feasible, but it comes down to what you were saying. What's the point of showing people something that they can't have? It's like when manufacturers of cars show you a concept car that you're like, that is sick. Oh, by the way, we're never going to make it. We just wanted to show it to you, and you're like,
one of our graphic designers got drunk and drew it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, thanks, guys. Like, it's annoying when that happens, but it's also nice to see what they can do, because that skate, I'm going to go ahead and say I don't remember seeing an outsole on that skate. So in terms of what technology Bauer has, and remember, these manufacturers are always 2-3 years in advance of what we see.
That was a few years back.
So imagine what they have the capability of doing now. It's just a case of what do they want to do, how much is it going to cost, and does it infringe on anybody else's patents? Because a lot of these guys, one of the most irritating things, I'm not going to say which manufacturer this is, and please discredit the fact that we're obviously discussing Bauer right now. I'm not going to say which manufacturer this is.
Yeah, you watch your mouth over there.
but something that is known is obviously manufacturers are going to look at other manufacturers' equipment. They need to see what the competition is doing. They need to size themselves up. But one of the 4 main hockey manufacturers, when I met with them, claimed that they never ever look at what the competition is doing. Who was it that said this? I think it was kind of like, I don't know if it's Apple or what company or what CEO said this, but basically saying, like, I don't care what the other people are doing. I only focus on what I'm doing. And that was kind of like the approach that they took. It's like, we don't look at what anyone else is doing. We don't care. Like, all we care about is what we're doing, and like, we're our own competition. I was like, oh, that's a pretty awesome way of looking at things. Walking through the facility, I see a bunch of sticks from, I was about to say the sticks that were in there, that would have caught me out. But I was like, I see a bunch of sticks and also skates and also protective from several other manufacturers that you claim that you don't even look at.
No, they were just burning them for fun.
And I was like, I
got
looked at
bored one
that.
night.
I looked at that, and I looked at the person that showed me around, and he looked at me, and he's just like, didn't say anything. He just kept walking. I was just sat there thinking, like, really, dude? Like, really?
Like, damn, he found me out.
I was like, come on. I think if anything, competition.
Chris, look over there.
Do you know what I mean? Close the door. But it's annoying when stuff like that happens. It's because I don't care. It's something that you know. Like, do you really think BMW aren't looking at what Mercedes are doing?
Of course,
and vice versa. It's like, of course that's going to happen.
If you're at the top of an industry, I think you'd be very naive to not look at what everyone else is doing.
It makes sense, and it's nothing that belittles a brand or makes you think any less of what they're doing. It's like, of course you're going to be looking at what everyone else is doing.
But
Why not?
It happens everywhere. You look at the competition between Pepsi and Coke. You know, they are fairly similar products, but completely different. And it's like, at some point, whether you look at the advertising aspect of things,
they poke fun at each other as well.
Yeah, exactly. And like some of their, I think the best one I saw was the Coke advert. The kid's running up to the vending machine. He's got 3 coins in his hand. He puts his first 2 coins in and gets 2 cans of Pepsi. And you think it's a Pepsi advert. He then puts the 2 Pepsi cans on the floor to stand on so that he can reach the Coca-Cola button.
Oh,
best if you have a best advert I've ever seen. And then he takes it out, it's like iced, everything, and just leaves the 2 Pepsis on the floor. Best advert I've seen.
Yeah, that's unreal.
But it's
Fair
like,
play.
I'm not saying that, sports manufacturers of equipment or whatnot do that.
I kind of wish they would, though. It's because it would be funny, because there's times where a manufacturer gets something wrong, and it'd be nice to see the other guys kind of just be like,
but would you see if Bauer and CCM were to do that, or whatever, not Bauer and CCM, if 2 other brands kind of went down that route with the advertising, would you see it as funny as what you would see it if, for instance, like the Coca-Cola and the Pepsi advert or the BMW advert?
I think it can be done
very discreetly.
Not even discreetly. I think there's a way of poking fun with topics like that, where you can do it and it's funny. And it's like, okay, that was pretty slick what they did there. Because there's times where they do go at each other or like NHL teams when they go at each other in comments.
Yeah.
Like, it's hilarious when you see that happening. You don't think any less of them. If anything, you're like, I'm going to follow you now.
Yeah.
That's not even my team, but I'm going to follow you. It's like James Blunt on Twitter. I don't care about his music.
He is quite comical.
I don't care about his music. I don't care about anything that he does except his comeback tweets.
Like a stand-up.
He is savage on Twitter, and I follow him just because you don't know what he's going to say, and it's kind of cool. But that means that I'm actually keeping up to date with what he's doing.
Probably 90% of people I follow on Twitter is because I've seen them post a savage tweet, and I'm like, there's got to be more of this somewhere.
Exactly. That's my point. And but touching on that before we drift off too far, commercials. Can we just talk about when manufacturers do drop the ball? You know exactly
I know where you're going with this, and yes, CCM are the.
No, it's not even about CCM. Like I look like a bloody fanboy right now, caked in CCM merch. It's bad, but fanboy. I grabbed whatever was like you last time, whatever's on the clean pile of laundry, and this is what I'm wearing. The hat was intentional, the jumper was not. Okay. But
I like the jumper.
I like it too.
Because CCM are the best clothes. What?
But
you said that. What?
But
no,
what I was going to say,
I'll openly admit they make better. Their clothing range and apparel range is a lot better.
Whenever I order something from CCM, there's always some bit of clothing that comes in with it.
It's nice.
Oh, it's good. I'll give you that.
What I wanted to hit you up about was the Flylight commercials.
No, not the Fly. You're talking about the 1X commercial.
Wait, I thought it was the Flylight.
No, it was the Bauer 1X.
What, the no stick one?
Yeah.
The invisible one.
Hands down, the weirdest hockey commercial I've ever seen.
Oh my goodness.
And the concept of it was very good.
Yeah.
I just think whoever came up with that idea should have probably been fired.
So let's make a massive poster with like Patrick Kane on the front of it using the new stick, but the new stick
like
isn't
it's
there.
half finished. Like it literally looks like they just forgot to put the stick
but
in.
just think about that.
Like, the deadline, quick, release it.
We're going to put this massive billboard poster in like downtown Montreal of Bauer's new stick with Patrick Kane using it.
Standing there looking, better, no stick.
But the stick's invisible.
Yeah.
It's like, who thought of that? That's the only one that I've just never understood. Like all of the other hockey commercials, they all kind of do really similar things. I'll be honest, I've never been blown away by any hockey commercial that I've seen, except the Gretzky cereal one from back in the day.
I did see a good one.
The Gretzky and Sundin McDonald's one is good.
Yeah, those are cool.
That's a good. Yeah, I think some of the old ones are good.
But now I think they're all mundane. But the one that always sticks out in my head is they completely dropped the ball. There was that Bauer one. I thought
you remember it for the wrong reasons.
That's a good point. He's got a good point there.
Now, was that intentional?
It was so bad.
If we could get an answer from Bauer, that would be great.
It. Yeah, no, fair play. That's like
we'll ask that question.
Completely off topic, but it's like Apple with the $700 wheels that they've got for one of their. Like they've got a base unit computer, and the wheels, which are a separate attachment, if you buy them separately, are $700 for 4 wheels. But YouTubers have been making loads of videos about them, and what they've been doing is going for $700. If you went on Apple's website, here's a list of other products you could buy for that same amount of money, instead of getting these 4 wheels.
That's genius.
Everyone's talking about them, so you're indirectly advertising the company because of a product that's so. They must not be making anything on that in terms of like.
I wonder how many they've actually sold.
But this is why the price is so high.
I'd like to know.
The engineering is savage, so the price is super high, so they can try and make some money off of the minimal units that they're going to sell. But what it does is means that everyone's going to be like, "What the hell are Apple doing?" But you're talking about Apple.
Fair enough.
But it's just I think it might be similar to that. That's a good point that you put out. I didn't even think about that. But this leads me on to something else very swiftly. Again, we're not mentioning any brands in particular, but when a company dresses said NHL player in said range of a certain product, but the actual components of that product are not even the same thing.
So what you're saying is when a player decides that they want to use or they want to try a new stick, but they can't for endorsement reasons, they dress it up as what it should be.
No, I mean when it's within the same brand. So hypothetically, if a company like Bauer is dressing up one of their star NHL endorsees under Supreme, but he's actually using he's actually using Vapor.
Yeah,
but it's all branded as Supreme. Like you
see it a lot. If you follow any of the kind of the pro equipment accounts or anything on Instagram like that, you'll always see that they'll sell a stick or they'll be. Someone put in a request for like a breakdown of a model or a stick that a player's using, and it'll always be what player it is, what hand they are, what flex they are, what curve they're using, and then it'll be a model. And on probably maybe 80% of them will be using a Bauer 2N dressed as a 1X or whatnot. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but no, there's a few out there. when you first thought I thought you were talking about players that are using, like, that might be sponsored or, like you said, dressed in CCM or Bauer, but yet are using a CCM or a Bauer stick, etc., dressed as whatnot. So I know Crosby done that for a little bit. I think he got caught a few seasons back with an all black stick, and it turns out it was a Supreme 1S that he was testing or trying. Jack Eichel done it last year, got caught with a season.
Are you sure about that?
100%. I could show you the website right now.
Okay, that's interesting.
Jack Eichel's been caught where using a CCM super tack as well. I think he scored a hat trick in the game with it. Scrapped it after that, so no big deal. But yeah, no, there's a lot of players that do it, and I don't know whether that's for. I don't know how they do it. I could never kind of just pick up a stick halfway through a season and go, I'm gonna give this a whirl.
But this
I could.
But this is the thing.
What, you could pick up? You could pick up a Bauer and go.
If it had my curve and it was my flex, yeah. We've been through this before.
You
If it's
shocked
I
You disgusting.
you make do with what you've got.
Yeah, no,
Exactly. If it's my curve and it's my flex, I'm not gonna be like, no, you're right. You keep hold of that. I'm gonna
alright.
use this one.
No,
Do you
that's
know what I mean?
fair. But yeah, no, I get you, and I know you're quite good at being able to do that. But this is the question. Like, do you think, like, for you, for example, I know you're pretty big on your sticks. Like,
Love my sticks.
Do you think that's right? Do you think it's justified, or do you think if it's Bauer and they're endorsed by Bauer and they're using a range that isn't the one that they're kind of being branded to use? Like, because the problem is, because of social media, because of Twitter, because of Instagram, because of Twitter police,
there are
people
hundreds
know.
of cameras on you every second.
People know. So
Yeah.
do you think it's worth them still doing that, or should they just scrap that and let people, like, just use whatever the hell they need to be using, provided it's with the company that they're endorsed by or they're endorsing?
Yes and no, like you said, and from the outside looking in, if you knew nothing about, if you were to get a photographer to take a picture of, I don't know, an NHL player, for instance, I don't know, we'll use the Crosby idea. You wouldn't, if you didn't know anything about equipment or you didn't know the specifics or, designs, patterns and whatnot, you could probably just say, oh, he's using a CCM stick, he's got CCM light, everything like that. But then from somebody, the trained eye, that would be able to look at a picture and go, that's not what he normally uses. Maybe zoom in, look at things on a different angle. You could probably tell that might be using something a bit different, which is where, like you said, you've got to be very careful. Certainly from an endorsement perspective, Crosby is Mr. CCM, as well as Conor McDavid. If you were to see David pick up a Bauer stick, even if his was broken and he was given a Bauer off of the bench, I'd like to think that he's fairly professional, knowing that he could get in trouble for that.
What about you?
I'm sure he could.
Yeah, I think it's very similar. But you've also got, like, the NHL players have to agree to that. They're like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. Whereas you've got some players that have their kit and are like Jay, where they're like, that's my kit, I'm not using any different. So like I think it's McDavid is still using the old Super Tack and the RBZs, the first RBZs.
Yeah.
He's still using the old equipment.
No, the
He won't
RBZ is
change.
the original. What is now the jet speed?
No,
RBZ
he's
was
using the original, like the first skates he came into the NHL with, and he's still using them now. And he's got his old gloves, and he won't change.
It's even like Crosby using the E-Pro holder.
Yeah,
Still uses the
they
E-Pro
have their
holder.
kit and they like it, and they're not changing it.
You're gonna have to explain that.
Okay, sorry. I thought it was a gear nerd. My bad. CCM and all. So, like, if you go way back,
We're talking about blade
skates,
holder.
yeah, like the actual blade holder that Crosby uses is the E-Pro holder. So, like, that is very old, because if you go back a few years ago, it was SB holder, and then it went from SB holder to XS, which is the one with the dial. So he's literally 2 holders behind in terms of what he uses.
Personal preference, guys.
No, but it's not, I don't think it's personal preference. It comes down to this whole superstition thing.
Oh yeah, that probably plays a huge part in it as well.
Of course it is.
If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah, like they don't like to change their gear, and I get that. But this is where my arguments lie, because people are so aware that, the key figures in the NHL essentially are using whatever the hell that they want. Even when you look at their sticks, for example,
It's just dressed up as
if
what
they're
it should
using
be.
a jet speed and it is an actual jet speed, it's not got a skin on it or whatever, or if it's a vapor and it is an actual vapor, it's not dressed up or whatever, it's not underneath. Like, some of these sticks are comprised from completely different compounds. From, like, I'm saying, set aside pro stock. Like, some of these guys are using stuff that doesn't exist in terms of, like, what you're, as a consumer, able to go out and buy. So do you think it's justified
I know,
when people are branding stuff as one thing when it's really another?
That's a funny story. There's a D-man, I can't remember who he is, what he plays for, but I think it was a range of Easterns, the old Easterns, that he really liked. I think the team bought whatever they could find online or whoever had them, and they were being dressed up as what he was supposed to be using. So, I mean, I personally wouldn't do it, but
It's marketing though, isn't it? if the young kids, like people like you lot, are going to know, oh, that's a dressed up stick. But the young kids that are wanting to look up, they're going to look at it like, oh, he's my hero. I want that stick.
For sure. I completely agree with that.
Once you get the kids,
that's
they're going to go with that brand, pretty much more likely to go with that brand for the rest of their hobby.
No, I don't dispute that. That's of course what this is. But my argument is, like, what do we think of that? Like, what do we think about that?
It depends what way you look at it. Because like you just said, with me and Jay, we look at it, we're like, that's not what he's using. But a junior will be like, oh, I want that. It's my favourite player who's using that. I want it. So it's just a different way to look at it, if you know what I mean.
I agree that from a marketing perspective, of course. But what I'm saying is when one company is branding a product that is theirs as another family of their own products, like what is the point? If they are, so long as they're in CCM, what does it matter?
Yeah.
I think the whole thing of like how players are indexed, Brett Burns has this particular type of shot and he's this particular type of player. He needs to be in this range. Yeah. And then this guy is that particular, he needs to be in. I think that's what the issue is for me. Because
that's where there's a kind of a double-edged sword to it, because you look at, like you said, if you've got, CCM have got their ranges and Bauer have got their ranges. I mean, you've got Patrick Kane uses Vapor, you've got Kucherov that uses Supreme. They're within the Bauer family, but they're two separate. Now, I wouldn't say. I mean, from a kind of a retail perspective, like you said, the reason that they do this is because people that go into a shop to buy equipment or to look at equipment, they'll sit down and they'll measure your foot, or they'll 3D scan your foot and say, your foot has come up to be best suited in a Vapor or a Supreme or a Nexus. Just because you're being told that, you might not feel that, or you might not want to do that.
No, of course.
I think that's where the issue comes. It's once again, it's personal preference.
But this is the argument, because then what happens there is that you're being directed. It's like if you find like you're the type of player that, for example, like you do a lot of backhand shots, then that means I need to get ribcore stick. Oh, that means I need to get ribcore like body protection as well. I need to get ribcore skates. And this is where I'm saying the issue is. It's not, in my opinion, I don't think it's a very good way of educating people about, because what they're trying to do is create a definition between the three different families that equipment manufacturers have.
I think they jumped a bit far into it.
That's my point. I think it's not the best way to be able to demonstrate that these are three different lines of products, because why can't Brett have a pair of Super Tack skates with a jet speed stick and different, why can't you mix and match?
Well, I use Vapor skates, a Supreme stick, and Nexus gloves. So there you go. This
is my point, because what's being drilled into people's heads is the equipment has to match. Like, for example, I really like the jet speed range of sticks and also skates. I don't like the protective.
No idea what they look like.
The red ones.
Got you. Okay.
Didn't he not pick them up and try to take one the other day?
No,
he did, didn't he?
Oh yeah, I think he actually did.
He did grab a CCM jet speed.
Been called out there, Jay.
There's three of us.
I tried one once last year. Wasn't a fan.
I like how he doesn't make eye contact when he says it. He's like looking at the ground like.
The FT1 and the FT2.
He did try to take the FT1 and the FT2.
Yeah, Chris said that. So.
I reckon we give him.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
I think when it's the matching, it's like it's a look type thing as well. Like Jay said, look good, feel
by
good.
CCM, it doesn't matter.
This is my point. Why does it have to be all like yellow or all red or all green?
I think that, like Jay said with the Bauer side, they're trying to advertise one player to that part of the brand and keep them on that side. So like you've got, like you said, Kucherov with Supreme and Kane with was it Vapor?
Yeah.
They're just going to stick to that because they're advertising that for them.
But ask me this. If that is working,
it's poster.
Yeah, no. If it's working, if this is supposed to be working, why is it when we create videos that explain the differences between different families within one manufacturer, they get over 150,000 views, and people are like, I had no idea about that. I've been playing hockey for 30 years, never knew about that. It's not working. People are not understanding that there is a clear difference between these different brands, and that's where I think they're doing a really crap job. But I'm not complaining because hello. If they did a great job of it, I'd be out of a bloody job.
But I think, as I just said with the posters,
can we just erase this entire conversation just to make sure that no manufacturers decide to adjust and start tidying up the way that they do stuff?
I don't think that will ever change. You look at you look at the post
I hope it doesn't. Dear God, I hope it doesn't.
I'd like to say I hope it does, but looking at it realistically, it won't, because when they release a new item or a new model of something, it's always gloves, helmets, sticks, and skates.
No, but that's cool. But I just think the idea of making players feel like they have to be branded in the same family across the board.
It's just look.
Because they're on the poster.
It's just look. They want to, like Jay said, he likes to look good, feel good. That is it. That is what it is.
That's insane.
If you show someone a stick,
you agree with that? You think that's cool? Do you think that's fine?
No,
It's
you know
cool,
I don't.
but
I
it's
don't mind mix matching my kit.
It's a financial side of it. It's a marketing aspect, like Ricky said. You know, Austin Matthews, prime example. When he first came into the league, he was wearing 1X skates, Nexus gloves, and a Nexus stick. Whenever he did anything Bauer, whether that be an advert, a commercial, anything, he was always wearing Nexus skates.
But I have seen him using the CCM stick in the league.
Now you have. He's changed to CCM.
Yeah.
So, but what about if we went down the route of saying, like, what about the NHL players that are wearing stuff in posters and adverts and stuff, but aren't even using them on the ice? I don't want to give any examples because there's one that I really want.
As I referred to earlier, from the untrained eye, they wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah. Well, they don't really mind. They're just trying to sell their product.
Yeah.
It's like you said with the £700 wheels.
Money, mate.
These better ways of doing it.
If you start showing people wearing stuff from 3 years ago, why is anybody going to go and buy the new gear?
Exactly, that's it.
Don't poke holes in this argument.
You've got to.
No, he's got a point.
The top end guys have got to be seen to wearing the best and the newest.
Because, like we said with the juniors,
they're all over the posters. They're all over adverts.
Newest is fine. Newest is fine. It's just when it's something that they don't actually use. Because the thing is, I just don't.
So you're basically going down the route of all these people that promoted Herbalife and stuff like that when that was a terrible product.
What's Herbalife?
Exactly. We don't need to go into it, but that's the route you're going. Celebrities that advertise things that they don't use themselves, but are being paid to advertisement or to add them because of who they are and what they do.
Okay.
I'm sure you said the teeth whitening set.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people how many of those celebrities don't use them? Every one of them. They'll put them in for 2 minutes while they're being videoed, pretend that they're doing their everyday thing while they're doing it, never use them again.
When
Then
the
let's do
waiters
this.
really go to the dentist.
So
Exactly, yeah.
the general consensus with that is, so like items being branded as other things, but same manufacturer. Bauer just branding Supreme as Nixus, Nixus is Supreme because that's what that player uses.
What was that?
I knew he was going to say something.
Vapor Supreme and what?
Nixus.
Nexus. Nexus.
Nixus.
Nexus would be NI.
Do you know, I've gotten stick for saying
You are
this
going to
in
continue to
videos.
get stick from this.
I knew he was going to say
Nexus.
something.
NEX.
I'm
Thank
pronouncing
you.
it. I'm pronouncing it. Do you know what? Let's just go.
Nexus.
Let's say, for example, Bauer. See, I'm going to flip it. Bauer dressing up Supreme as Vapor. Vapor is Supreme. Is that okay? Are we good,
That's
JJ?
much better.
So what's the general consensus then? We're saying that we understand that the younger players, they're the ones that are going to be looking up and going, that's what I want. Older players that are connected are going to go, yep, I know what's going on there. But like, what is our summary of this?
It's probably having the resources to do it. Like, we probably couldn't, neither one of us could go, well, we're not meant to be using anything. We use what we want out of choice and preference. But if we were in that position and you had the resources and Bauer responding you or CCM responding you, you're going, I've used the 1X before, or I've used the 2S, but I know I'm supposed to be using Nexus. Dress it up as whatever you will. I know what's underneath. So, I don't agree with it, but I think
It's the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, pretty much. You're being paid however much you are to wear their equipment and endorse whatever. They'll make it look how they want it to look on you.
Yeah, I think for me, my overall on this is I don't see where the harm would be in athletes mixing and matching equipment. I don't see where the harm would be in that. So long as it's the same brand.
I'm sure there'd be a hole in the pocket somewhere, but not their pocket.
I don't think there's any of us.
No,
here.
because you're still advertising the same manufacturer. You're just not advertising a clean slate of blue or a clean slate of red.
Okay, but then so you live in Canada, you live in America, you've got a child. They like Crosby. They're going to a store. Oh, Crosby's using that stick, I've got to have that. Okay, well, he's wearing those skates. Oh, they're completely different. You should be going down this route. That's exactly why they do it. If you walk into any hockey shop in the world, if you're brand new to something...
What's up, dude? Yeah, of course you can. Go on, sweetheart.
Hero. You walk into a store, it's common sales. You're there to buy one thing. It's like when you go to Tesco's. Tesco's are great at doing it. You go in to buy one thing.
For anyone that doesn't live in the UK... Tesco's is
it's basically like
Walmart.
No, sorry, Asda is Walmart because they're exactly the same company.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is it's a grocery store.
Yeah, there you go. Supermarket.
Basically, Jay just walks in and sees food and buys food.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is that no, that's it. The reason they when you go to pay, there's always those bits on the side that you're standing there waiting and you're like, oh, yes. Before you know it, you spent like £20 on stuff at the bloody till.
Oh, I bet tonight.
It's why they put the bread, eggs, and milk at the back of the store, so you have to walk past
everything you
a
don't
million
want
items.
or shouldn't want.
Yeah, and you end up
getting a trolley instead of a basket.
No, I get that. It's just, I think it's just one of those debatable subjects where I'd be interested to see what would happen if all of a sudden a player was, not wearing all the same colour equipment, but obviously from the same manufacturer, going with different things.
None of us here have the same equipment. None of us here can say, I've got the full set.
No, I messed with Super Tax for a while, using all of the AS1 protective.
You've seen how many ranges I've gone through. I've gone through Jet Speed, Super Attack, Ripcore.
I've gone back to my original Bauer 1.4 leg pads. Yeah, I did say it. But then everything else is CCM, but it's a mix and match.
I mean, I swapped shin pads with my brother because I like the older versions of the Super Attack. And he now has the FT ones. Like, it's
what works.
Yeah.
I don't see anything wrong, but I understand where you guys are coming from.
It's normally the top end guys that are all advertised anyway. So the guys that are maybe third, fourth liners that aren't in the limelight as much,
they would be mixed up.
They're able to use CCM helmet, Bauer gloves, skates, and whatever they want because they're not in the media spotlight as much.
Not poster boy.
So exactly.
Yeah, I think in terms of look, this probably leads us really nicely onto merch.
Yes. Ugh. Okay. Yeah. You know what I'm gonna say.
Well, say it then. Just say it.
I like Bauer. I'll always buy their stuff and stuff, but the apparel side of things for them has kind of desperately gone downhill in the last 5 years.
What you're looking for is dry.
Yeah, pretty much all of their old
ashy kneecaps dry.
Chris is just poking it. He's like, say it.
Yes. I think when you look at the likes of CCM, the apparel that they have.
Is that just like that top? Is it just the text just printed? Is it raised or is it literally just printed on there?
Just printed.
Did you hear how
I did used to have a black one that was stitched on.
Did you hear how sad he sounded when he said
I think this is just one of their odd gym ones.
This is all raised.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I would say the quality. I think they have different ranges of quality and whatnot. But all Bauer workout t-shirts, all the ones that I had from 5-6 years ago, I've still got now because you can't buy any new ones that look any good or
they still fit.
They still fit. they don't look any good. It's just but then you look at the likes of CCM and other that they're always bringing out new ranges, summer, autumn, whatever, and there's always something good coming from them. I like all of CCM's hoodies. Their jackets are nice.
I like their stuff and I wear their stuff because it doesn't scream. Even that top, all jokes aside, that top doesn't scream hockey.
No, exactly.
For me, any apparel, even if we look at companies that are sole hockey apparel companies,
Gong Show. When
they manufacture stuff that just screams hockey, like sticks and hockey helmets and pucks everywhere. I hate that kind of stuff. I think it's too much. I like stuff that's subtle.
Subtle branding.
Yeah, you don't know what it is. It just looks nice. It fits nice. It's comfortable. It doesn't have to scream ice hockey on it. That just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah. Bauer should kind of address the elephant in the room on the apparel and merch side and maybe up the game a little bit.
What about you, dude?
Yeah, 100% agree.
Unbelievable gold t-shirt, by the way. Look at that.
See what I mean? It's just straight up CCM all the time.
What about Gong Show stuff? What do you think of them?
I used to love their stuff.
What do you mean used to?
Well,
what happened?
Obviously, I know they're still around. I know they're still doing bits and bobs, but what was it, probably 10 years ago when they were massive? They were always making, good hoodies, t-shirts and stuff. I've still got a few of them now. But
you feel like it's slowed down?
Yeah, I feel like it kind of died down. Like you said, the full-on in-your-face hockey side of things is probably kind of, chilled out now, where if you're a hockey player, you wear, like you said, team stuff and it's a little bit less kind of in-your-face hockey side. It's more, if somebody walking down the street bumped into you and was like, "That's a really nice hoodie, where'd you get it? What is it?" You could explain it to them and "Oh, it's just a hockey brand." "Oh, you'd never know. It looks like something off the shelf. It fits the fashion styles quite well for certain times or certain years." So
yeah, there's a company called Goodwood that make really good stuff. It's the long sleeve t-shirt that I've got that says, I think it's hockey, wine, coffee, repeat or something like that. It's literally that is me. That is me. And I really like their stuff as well. And then also Beauty Status from Minnesota. Their stuff is incredible. Their hoodies, their jackets. I like it when the companies aren't just going to a wholesaler in China, slapping a logo on something and going, "Oh, we're a merch company." That really annoys me when it's just recycled stuff with logos on it. All of their stuff, the zippers, the actual materials, the layering, the colors, it's all made from scratch, and that's the nice stuff.
When you're like Jay said, when you're always at a rink, you're always in your team stuff. You don't want to then buy something that's hockey. We're we play probably maybe 1-2 away games a week.
Yeah.
we're in our team tracksuits. We go to training
Or a
sometimes.
hoodie. All week.
You don't want to then go out normal clothes and it scream hockey. You just sort of like you want to come away a little bit, if you know what I mean.
That's why I like the companies that have much more subtle designs that don't scream hockey in your face. I prefer that. So, like, what would you say is your favourite apparel company at the minute?
There's a few that I see on Instagram. None that I've ever kind of dived in and gone, I'll
But just from the look.
Straight up CCM.
Yeah?
No
doubt.
But both of you three.
Yeah, probably CCM.
Jeez, I think I'll say CCM as well. Like this, even like the hoodie that Ricky's
Just
got
a
on now
plug
is
here.
one of my favourite ones.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's, it looks basic. It doesn't scream hockey. Yes, it's got CCM.
Even the
hockey
colours on
written
it, it's like the colours and the font. It's just nice.
Like you could wear it. Nice pair of jeans, slick back hair. There
You
go.
pick CCM over Gong Show?
I haven't looked at any of the Gong Show stuff kind of recently. There's there's a UK company, Crosscheck Hockey. They do a lot of kind of good merch.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I have seen that.
That's kind of borderline screams hockey,
Yeah.
something subtle.
Yeah.
A lot of their hockey t-shirts ideally are aimed at obviously guys like us that are involved in hockey, play it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That you could wear a t-shirt around a couple of the guys, and you could walk into the rink in a hoodie or a t-shirt, and it not scream hockey, but
Yeah.
the right people would know what it's about, basically. So.
Fair play. Just for reference, my favourite apparel company is not an apparel company, it's Timberland. Just throwing that out there now.
Just plug in everywhere you can, can't it?
This video is sponsored by Timberland.
Trying to get.
Timberland make the... No, I'm joking.
Are you wearing Tim's right now?
I am wearing Tim's right now.
Oh wow.
I don't think I've ever seen him wear any other pair of shoes.
And I've got a Timberland t-shirt underneath this. It's just a bit
Can you
cold
just
in
go and buy
here.
a pair of Nike trainers and just wear them?
Never.
Why?
Never.
No,
Look,
Nike are so
there's the logo.
Nike are
There's
so
the- What you
comfortable.
got?
I got Huarache. You buy a pair of 720s, they're with a comfortable.
No, Timberland only, man. Only Tim. Only
Do
Tim.
you go to the gym in Tim's?
I do. I have trainers at Tim's.
Guy in big boots, just.
No, but this is the thing. Timberland don't. I skateboard in Tim's.
different.
Timberland don't make. They make.
Yeah, this is the cereal
This is the
thing.
cereal
alright.
over
They have shoes exactly like the trainers that you've got on. They make stuff like that.
No,
they make.
don't. No, they don't. Show me a pair of Timberland trainers right
Oh
now.
my goodness.
Have you
The
ever
amount of
worked
Timberland
out
trainers
in a
that
pair
I've
of
got.
Timberlands? Like, have you ever worked out in a pair of
Yes.
Timberlands? Like, full on?
Yeah, to
Proper,
be fair, Jack,
proper
they've got
snow
like
Tims.
pairs of Timberlands.
Did they?
They look
Okay,
exactly
alright.
the same as that.
They are on their clothes and their shoes are unreal. I'm not even kidding you. Everyone thinks Timberland is like boots for wearing if you're chopping down trees, but it's not like that.
No, it's very roadman now, Timberland.
Road man.
It is.
Yeah.
Timberland's proper roadman.
Yeah.
Road man. So if you're watching this and you're in the States, they mean hood.
Yeah, bit ghetto.
It's not. Oh wow.
Like downtown Detroit. We're
downtown
talking.
Detroit. It's just going to come down to if black people use different ink
No,
to
no.
get tattoos.
That was a genuine question. That was a genuine question.
Couldn't just
I've
deny-
never wanted to ask anyone before. I
just denied it.
thought we were in that environment.
We also drink different milk, sleep in different beds,
Wow.
pray to different gods. Anything else
Wow.
you want to know?
Eat good food.
This just detoured massively.
They eat good food.
Oh my
Goodness.
God.
Look, this is just a really, really quick example.
I don't think I could work out in those.
Look,
I don't think I'd ever wear a pair of them.
quick. I'm just showing you a very, very quick example.
Those white ones don't
See,
look too bad.
like-
But I don't think I'd be able to work out in them.
It's not that they
They
make.
look like cheap Jordans.
They look like cheap Jordans. I can't stop.
While we're here on the topic of Jordans, anyone watch The Last Dance on Netflix?
Oh my
Have you
goodness.
watched that yet?
No, I know, yeah.
You need to watch that.
Yeah, no.
Anyone that has,
all
I'm
jokes
sure you know
aside,
exactly
is-
where I'm coming from with
Oh my
that.
goodness, that show is unreal, man.
How they
I
were
don't
able to
care
do
about
that and
basketball,
brought
I know-
us in
I
20
mean, I've never watched a
I
basketball
know
game
black
in my
people
life.
probably just assume
No, but you know who Michael
must
Jordan
like
is, right?
basketball.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, they've done a whole documentary on.
I don't think
How
they
long
heard
is
that
it?
comment.
How long is it?
It just
10
flew under the radar.
episodes? I think there's 8
10.
episodes on Netflix.
I think about 10.
And they release them.
How long
They
are they?
release 2 episodes every week.
I think they
45
just
minutes.
released the last 3
Did that?
episodes.
Yeah.
I'm a good 4 behind, but I've done that intentionally because I just want to binge.
I mean, I'm a good.
No, it's a very.
How many's there?
For
I'm
somebody
surprised
that,
you've not said anything about how much you want to ride Dennis Rodman right now. Dude,
no, it's just like
Oh my God.
Obviously, I've known of him for a while. But when
he posted like a little mural on his Instagram.
I'm literally- I'm
just a picture of Dennis Rodman.
I'm 2 days
Oh
away
my
from
God,
dyeing my
I
hair
can't
like him. I wouldn't say. No.
Chris just froze that.
There's an element of.
Have that.
No, there's an element of
Oh
like
my God.
Oh, dear.
respect, big time respect.
I bet you respect it.
Well, no, of course. If you like, as I said, I've known of him for a while. You know, you see him floating around on social media for whatever reason. Or
He reminds
he's
me
got
of
himself
me,
into trouble
man.
doing this, etc.
He reminds me of not the trouble side of things, but the he'll come and do his job, but he needs to cut away and just get blitzed. And then he'll come back and it'll be usual operations the second he gets back.
If you don't know anything about Dennis Rodman and you haven't watched Last Dance, I'd certainly watch it, even if you know a little bit about him.
He needs his own documentary.
Yeah, he did one. He did an ESPN 30 and 30.
Yeah.
I watched that a couple of days before I watched The Last Dance. Mm-hmm. But yeah, him as a person, he just, like you said, he'd turn up no matter what circumstances. He's the only sportsman I know of that mid-season tells his coach he needs a 2-day break in Vegas, stays there for 4 days. Michael Jordan has to go and get him out of bed with Carmel Electra, and then he comes back and they win the NBA championship that year. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
literally, that's the legit story. That actually happened.
Can you imagine if that got out at the time, how insane that would have been?
Well, this leads us on to something massive as well. A player from Washington, Washington released him because there was a WhatsApp conversation got leaked. I think there was certain
encrypted WhatsApp message got in.
Screenshots of a message. So obviously somebody had done it to intentionally.
I was like, that is literally the whole point of WhatsApp.
Well, exactly.
Your messages
but no,
encrypted.
somebody had done it intentionally to kind of get him in trouble.
Yeah.
Or he, maybe annoyed the wrong person, and it's kind of backfired on him big time. And obviously when it come out, Brett Hull, who like hockey legend, it was a big thing about if people have seen The Last Dance, and that was a very, very similar to what it was like in the old NHL days. There was no social media.
You could get away with a lot more than that.
He's like, you could go out at 2 a.m. and get in and still turn up and win a game the next day. He's like, nowadays...
You're under scrutiny all the time.
Yeah, you are.
Takes one picture.
That's it.
One hashtag.
Social media is just an absolute storm, and I think, which is why it's changed things so much. The professionalism certainly jumps up massively. You couldn't get away with what the likes of Dennis Rodman and whatnot done, but... Yeah, it's a good watch.
But I think it's important to mention that social media is not a negative thing that's there to make things horrible. In terms of personal social media accounts, they're just a mirror. That's all they are.
Sometimes they're a front as well.
But this is the thing. It just shows the roots of someone's posts and the way they act online. Just shows the type of character that they are.
Yeah.
And all that's happening is because it's now public. Mm-hmm. Those types of people can be put on blast a lot easier.
Yes.
But yeah, no, for sure. I think we should definitely wrap this one up. What are we like on time-wise, Ricky? Where are we sat?
Hour and 1 minute.
And that's the longest podcast to date. Oh,
First time I've ever seen an hour on this time.
Oh, jeez.
We'll wrap that up.
We'll wrap it up, guys. But as always, thank you very much.
I would have put money on him mentioning food.
I'm so hungry.
Keeping that round shape.
I've had a pack of steak McCoys all day. It's like, what's the time now? 2 o'clock?
Something like that. I'm getting Five Guys. 3. I'm having Five Guys. It's 5 to 3.
Baller.
Anyways, as always,
I'll have a burger and fries and a drink. Oh, that'll be $15.50.
but it's good food.
Milkshake's on fire.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I've had them once, and I will never ever spend £13.
I want Galleria or Zizzi's, but they're both closed.
Never.
And Ricky will
If I ever
vouch
go
for me
there,
on this. I
I'll
want
get a
Galleria or
milkshake, that's
Zizzi's. They're both closed right now, though.
Nando's.
I can't vouch for you for Five Guys though.
Milkshake,
But
that's
you don't
all
like-
I was gonna
he
say.
doesn't like solid burgers.
Can you actually take a £20 note out of your pocket, take £5 change for a burger meal? Get
Yeah.
out of it.
And it's a terrible burger as well.
Oh, he
I
went
could-
there.
I pay
do
double
that.
for a Five Guys burger and still be satisfied with it. It's
Oh
amazing.
my God, I could never do that.
In terms of a fast food burger in the UK, Five Guys is the best burger you can get.
I think you're outnumbered. Mate.
Yeah, you are
All
big time
three of us,
outnumbered.
so-
I would not pay £15 for a
You know what I
meal.
mean? Have you never been to a McDonald's on the way back from Sheffield?
I don't eat McDonald's.
2 in the morning when you're busting home from an England
I
practice.
don't eat McDonald's, man.
Like
McDonald's
double
is not-
cheeseburger? Yes,
McDonald's
sign
is
me up.
like I'd rather eat.
You never had McDonald's breakfast?
I'd rather eat a. Do you know what? The breakfast I could deal with. If I'm in a rush, I'd get an egg muffin, but that's it.
So he has McDonald's.
This is just
Don't.
complete.
This is a cereal
I
over
said
again.
I said that I could deal with the breakfast,
This
but
is
the
cereal.
meals.
This is the
again.
salmon and eggs for breakfast all over again.
It
You
is.
should read that last podcast. Somebody in the comments was like, "There is nothing wrong with salmon in the morning for breakfast." Just saying. Before we go on another tangent,
But cereal is a dessert.
We're
That's
gonna
just,
do it.
that doesn't make sense to me.
We're going to
It
do
just
a
doesn't make
comment
sense.
section with this on what you would normally have for breakfast if you live in the UK. It'll either consist of a protein shake for most like sports people,
Cup of tea.
cereal, a cup of tea,
Cup
yeah,
of tea. Oh, mate, love a cup of
toast. Nobody is having salmon.
You don't have tea?
no.
Oh my God.
I like scones though.
That's not bad, but yeah,
love me
you gotta
some
have a cup of
scones.
tea. You
No,
never
no.
just sit down and have a cup of tea.
No, I'll have a flat white latte.
We're going to cut this off. I'm getting
Yeah. This is getting too much.
No, jeez. Oh, jeez.
Un-British thing you could ever say.
Yeah.
What about fish and chips? You ever like fish and chips?
No, mate, because I'm cultured and I like food.
God, man.
No, I won't have some
fish and chips.
I'm gonna cook some fresh paella.
You don't have fish and chips?
Don't hate. You've
never had fish and chips?
I've had fish and chips, but it's just starch with stodge look.
You're so uneducated on food.
The problem is you're undereducated on food.
Second, right? Domino's pizza.
I like it. Look, let me tell you this. I like meals that have more than 2 ingredients.
Man, I can't
Grow up, Chris.
Oh my goodness. All right, wait.
You need to wake up. Just have a cup of tea.
Yeah, you need to
and some toast.
No.
You need to sort this
It
out.
will change your mind completely. Cup of tea and a toast.
I hope people start abusing you for this.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I really do.
People are getting a real clear picture of what
I
Chris is
can't
like.
believe this.
Chris is bougie as hell.
Cannot
Anyways,
believe this.
I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you very much for watching the episode. If you're listening to it, thank you very much for listening. Please continue to be rating the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, because we're climbing up and it's awesome to see the feedback that we've got back so far. As always, any subjects you want us to discuss in the next episode, leave them down below. Thumbs up and subscribe.
Yeah, we'll do a whole episode on Chris's terrible food habits.
No,
Maybe we should do one of Chris just trying,
basic
a cup of
food.
tea and some toast.
Yes,
Chris trying
next
basic
episode.
food.
Yeah, basic foods.
Fish and
Episode
chips,
7.
cup of tea. Man, I'm honestly
It's got to be oat milk
Yeah,
because I don't do dairy. Just saying. Let's throw that in there as well.
Oh my god.
Wait.
Right.
Oh.
There it is. This is what the coffees are going to be made from.
Such a plug.
Look at that.
It's oatmeal.
Oh, yeah, you know. That's my Zach. Come over here real quick. You tell me. You tell me, buddy. Do we have talking to the microphone? Do we have cow's milk at home?
No way.
Yeah, buddy. Thank you guys.
Tea and some toast.
Until the next episode. Peace out.
Yeah, stay safe.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys. Over and out.
Tell Chris to try a cup of tea and some toast. God, so disappointed in you, Chris. This is unbelievable.